Hi, I'm Stephan. I am responsible for AVL Mobility Technologies in the US, and I'm here with Walde today, who's responsible for our Advanced Simulation Technology organization. I want to talk a little bit about simulation technologies and how important they are in today's world of mobility, both on the ground, in the air, and even going to the moon, and talk about how companies take advantage of it and also the areas companies take advantage of it, and obviously some of the solutions we have at AVL that really help in the mobility space advance and move technologies faster and faster at a shorter time frame and with more accuracy, higher quality, etc. So Walde, what are the main focus areas that we work on when it comes to simulation technologies?
I would say currently we focus mainly on the electrification. So electrification is one of the key points and the key enablers for the new mobility. So we know that all topics related to battery, electric motors are key for the success of this new revolution that we're living now in the mobility space. So one part is related to, as I said, electrification, but we also have parts related to the entire system. So we need to take care, every time that we develop a new system, we need to take care of the entire system itself. So we are moving from taking care of single components, single elements, more into a complete system level, more kind of holistic approach.
Okay. A lot of people sometimes ask me about, can you do 1D, can you do 3D simulation? Maybe quickly give people an idea what is 1D, what is 3D, and then what we at AVL mainly focus on.
Yeah, so basically 1D, 3D, all these are the dimensions in where we create simulations. So we can focus on, we range from 0D, meaning that we have tools that are 0-dimensional all the way through to 3D. But most important, and I think this is relevant for the new technologies, is that we need to blur the barriers between these different, let's say, dimensions. So the user does not need to know in which dimension they're working. The user needs to know what is the final goal and what is target. So a lot of simulations, and especially the tools that we develop, have as background this user interface, this usability, flexibility, and most likely the democratization of the simulation, which is what we plan to achieve in the future. So simulation, typically it was an area that was, let's say, restricted to some small groups in where they were the experts in do design, do analysis. But we have seen that simulation is an enabler for these new technologies. So we need to democratize simulations. We need to make this available for all different groups, for ranging from the experts and the ones that know everything about the techniques, knows about everything about the physics on the tools, but also the people that is simply the user of the result of the simulation. So having this in a tool that basically derive the data that is needed without having this high need of interaction from the user, makes this democratization one step at the time.
Okay. So when we talk about simulation's been around for 15, 20 years, right? In different degrees. Obviously, we've become now much more capable, much more advanced, better correlation between the physical or the real world and the simulation. But what is it that you hear from the customer is the most important thing? Is it the correlation? Is it the user interface? Is it the ease of how you connect with other simulation tools from different companies, or what is it that we're hearing, that your team's hearing?
Speed. I think the word speed. So customers, what we have seen is a trend that simulation doesn't need to be 100% accurate, maybe 80-90% accurate is enough. But so if we gain speed by reducing this, let's say, this need for accuracy is the most important for the customers. So simulation, let's say the change that we're having now is that simulation is used through the entire development process. So before, simulation was mainly used for analysis. As you mentioned, simulation has been around for, let's say, even 15, 20, 30 years. but was specifically for one part of the process. So now if we want to, and this is what most of the customers want to do, is use simulation over the entire development process. In some areas of the process, we don't need 100% accurate answer. What we need is an answer that gives us the direction where we need to go. Mm-hmm. And to get that answer, what we need is something that is really fast. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the need for speed is what we see in the industry, and this is what is drive certain parts of the simulation. Of course, to achieve the speed is not just having a tool that is fast enough, it's having a tool that enables the user to use the tool fast enough. Okay. So removing steps, doing a lot of post-processing and a lot of back-end process that doesn't need the interaction from the customers. So I would say this is the most important. This is where we see that we are trending. When it comes to correlation and data validation, what we have seen, something that is really interesting, is that we are seeing a change now. Before, tests were used to correlate simulation results. Now we are seeing that simulations are used to correlate tests. And one of the things also related to the test is that simulation does not replace entirely testing. So simulation, what simulation does is reduce the amount of testing and define what are the tests that are really necessary to do to perform the idea. So this is the reason why we need to have this speed, this not maybe 100% accuracy, but accurate enough to define what are the critical tests that we need to take. Mm-hmm. So the critical operation areas that we need to test for our system.
Okay. So when you look at what we at AVL do, the different areas we're working in and the different technologies and in the mobility space, again, on water, on the ground, in the air, wherever it might be, what are some of the unique industries we play in? Because a lot of people think, well, AVL mainly does, let's say, vehicles, automotive, but I know your team is also doing quite, for a while now, in all sorts of either adjacent or totally different industries. So give us an idea on what industries you serve.
Let's say, so AVL, I would say years ago, we traditionally start with the automotive industry, but so we move a lot on the material space. So materials, meaning at the end there are materials that are used perhaps for the same industry, but maybe not. So materials that can be used for fuel cells, for batteries, going back to even to the supply chain and define what are the components that are needed. So we do a lot of work on the material space. We do also a lot of work in the manufacturing space. We want to enter more in that area, so not just manufacturing of pieces, but manufacturing of white goods and these kind of components is also something that we have the tools and we have the capabilities to support that space. Okay. In the defense, in the aerospace, let's say markets or verticals is something that we also develop. So our tools are specific for what we do in the mobility space, but can be export or used in a different areas.
Okay. And I think we do some stuff with wind turbines, I believe, too, right? Solar power, I mean, not solar power, but wind power, right?
Yeah, wind power is something that we have been doing for already a couple of years, and it's something that is unique also in, let's say, for the usage of our tool.